today, we are going to delve into the fascinating chronicles of a particular people, the Moabites. Who were they, and why are they relevant in the sacred scriptures? Let's discover it together. The Moabites, descendants of a man named Moab, had their roots in a rather peculiar and sometimes conflictive history. Moab was no ordinary citizen. He was the son of Lot, a character who had certain notoriety in the scriptures. And this is where things get a bit complicated. Moab was born of an incestuous relationship between Lot and his eldest daughter. But the family history doesn't stop there, because Lot also had another son, Ben-Ammi, with his younger daughter, who in turn would become the ancestor of another people, the Ammonites. The adventures of Lot's family, specifically their somewhat distorted morality, were reflected in later episodes of history, especially in the ties between the children of Israel and the daughters of Moab, as narrated in the book of Numbers, chapter 25. In the name Moab, what does it mean? Some scholars suggest it could be derived from my father, alluding to the rather uncomfortable circumstances under which Moab was conceived. But there are no certainties or irrefutable proofs to support this theory. In various parts of the Bible, such as Genesis chapter 19, we are told not only of Moab as an individual but also of the territory and the people who bear his name, the Moabites. But where was the land of Moab located? This area was situated on a plateau to the east of the Dead Sea, rising majestically about 1,000 meters above sea level, offering fertile land, perfect for agriculture, especially for the cultivation of cereals and grapes. Also, sheep farming became a vital economic pillar for the Moabites. The size of the land of Moab fluctuated over time. Generally, its southern border was anchored in the Zerd Valley, while the northern border was drawn from the Arnon River, extending towards a somewhat diffuse limit to the north. It is likely that the Moab region had been home to various communities from ancient times. Over the years, the descendants of Moab settled there, intertwining their lives with those of the local inhabitants through marriage and other alliances. The relationship of the Moabites with the Israelites, who were their close relatives, was complicated, alternating between moments of peaceful coexistence and episodes of profound enmity. Over time, the Moabites became a predominant force in the region. The name Moab no longer only referred to an individual or just a population but encompassed both the territory and its inhabitants. This group of people, emerging from tangled and complex roots, grew and developed into a prosperous and well-structured kingdom. With a solid economy, grand constructions pierced their skies, and small fortresses sprouted at strategic points of their borders to protect themselves from external threats. The Bible tells us about various villages and cities in the region, showing us a scenario in which the Moabites, for a long time, lived in a sort of prosperity, expanding their territorial reach especially towards the north. History also tells us that the Moabites and the Ammonites, although close relatives, had a special connection. At the time when the Israelites embarked on their exodus from Egypt, the Moabites were already recognized as a powerful people, something that is reaffirmed in the book of Exodus, chapter 15 verse 15. But the Moabites were not only known for their growing power. Their religion, which closely resembled Canaanite paganism, was also notable for its intense and somewhat dark rituals, linked to nature and fertility. Among their gods, they worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of fertility. However, their principal deity was Chemosh, the god of war, to whom they offered both animal and human sacrifices in his honor. As for the Israelites and the Moabites, their relationship was, to put it mildly, quite tangled. Although the Bible mentions periods of peaceful coexistence and cultural and economic exchange between both peoples, it also speaks of times of tension and conflict. When the Israelites left Egypt, the Moabites did not exactly extend a warm welcome. In fact, Balak, the king of Moab, even tried to curse Israel, hiring the false prophet Balaam, before they crossed the Jordan River. In addition, the Israelites mingled with the Moabite and Midianite women, participating in their idolatrous practices, which generated tensions and conflicts. The cohabitation and cultural and social mixtures were so problematic that they were instructed that the Moabites should be excluded from the congregation of Israel. When Moses, the leader of the Israelites, died, his final resting place was a mysterious site in the land of Moab, a place that remains unknown and full of mystery to this day. And during the period of the judges in Israel, the Moabites, far from being friendly friends of the Israelites, oppressed them for 18 years under the reign of King Eglon. Throughout these stories, we see how the relationship between the Moabites and the Israelites fluctuates, marked by ups and downs, fleeting friendships, and entrenched conflicts. Ehud, a judge of Israel who stood out for being left-handed, emerged as a liberator breaking the Moabite oppression. But stories of conflicts and wars are not the only ones that stand out in the chronicle of the Moabites. There are also stories of integration and love, such as the case of Naomi, an Israelite, and her two Moabite daughters-in-law, Orpah and Ruth. After the death of her sons, Naomi decided to return to her homeland of Bethlehem. Ruth, one of the daughters-in-law, chose to accompany her, making a choice of loyalty and faith that ultimately intertwined her with the genealogical line of King David, and later, of Jesus Christ, when she married Boaz of the tribe of Judah. The monarchy in Israel also saw fluctuations in relations with the Moabites. While King Saul and King David fought and subdued the Moabites at different points, there were also moments of relative peace and coexistence. The death of King Solomon, which resulted in the division of the kingdom of Israel, gave the Moabites a window to claim their independence, although relations with Israel continued to be a mixture of subjugation, rebellion, and eventual liberation. A particularly impressive story is when the kings of Israel, Judah, and Edom joined forces in a coalition to attack the Moabites. But a chilling act by the Moabite king, who sacrificed his own son, caused the war to stop. Later, in a twist of irony, the Moabites, Ammonites, and Edomites joined to attack Judah but ended up destroying themselves, thwarting their own plans of attack and instead offering relief to the kingdom of Israel. The story also tells us how the Moabites, once subjugated by the powerful Assyrians and turned into tributaries of the Assyrian Empire, remained an important part in the regional drama, even after the fall of Assyria. They played a military role in Judah during the reign of Jehoiakim, and later, despite their participation in a conspiracy against Babylon, faced the retaliation of King Nebuchadnezzar. This fascinating mosaic of events shows us that the Moabites were much more than a mere footnote in Israelite history. They were, at different times, enemies, oppressors, allies, family, and a constant presence that influenced the path of the people of Israel in multiple ways. The history and prophecies surrounding this ancient people offer a penetrating look at the intersection of faith, power, and morality in the biblical context. The predictions of the prophets Isaiah and Jeremiah, with their dark forecasts for the people of Moab, reflect a deep sadness and a warning about the dangers of pride, idolatry, and immorality. The ruin of Moab, symbolized through desolated cities and devastated lands, as well as suffering people, serves as a mirror reflecting the consequences of turning away from ethical and moral principles. Although the cities and lands of Moab may have been prosperous and their forces potent, their rejection of the ways of righteousness and their trust in idolatry were, according to the prophecies, their downfall. Moab, with its complexity and paradoxes, fades into the mist of history, leaving behind ruins and tales that whisper warnings and lessons to future generations. As we explore these ruins and reread these ancient stories, we are reminded that our own existence, our decisions, and our nations are also interconnected with eternal and moral principles. In this presentation, we have navigated the intricate accounts of an ancient people and their complicated relationship with their neighbors and their deities. The Moabites, with their victories and defeats, their prosperity and desolation, become silent teachers, their lessons preserved in the sandy pages of time. Through their history, we are called to reflect, to learn, and perhaps, to choose a different path. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history, faith, and reflection. Do not forget that each story, each nation, and each choice resonates through time, offering us the opportunity to learn, grow, and choose our own path wisely. We will continue exploring the rich and multifaceted stories of the past and their implications for us today. Do not forget to share your thoughts, reflections, and questions in the comments. Until next time, and may God bless you.